Good evening and welcome to the Channel Studios here in London with your international news around the world in 5. Ukrainian civilians are now bearing arms as Russian troops continue to sweep through the country. Here the military are handing out guns to anyone who wants to join the fight. According to the Ministry of Defense, 18,000 machine guns have been handed out to Kiev volunteers. Molotov cocktails have been prepared, ready for the approaching army. Videos on social media showing other atrocities. In Obolon, a tank smashing into a civilian car. Remarkably, the elderly driver survived and was pulled free. Ukrainians are now living in a land where at any moment missiles can just fall out of the sky. Here, a downed Russian aircraft which crashed into a residential building. Air raid sirens are commonplace now in the capital. Authorities are calling for anyone of any age to sign up and fight if they can. Metro stations across the capital have been turned into makeshift bomb shelters, crammed full with young and old. But many are leaving, thousands fleeing the fighting and the advance of Russian forces. Poland, Slovakia and here in Romania, refugees are being welcomed by locals.
I have a lot of my relatives in Kiev who are sitting in the bomb shelters right now because there is a bombing everywhere and people are afraid and scared. So we want to leave Ukraine right now, but I think that there is no possibility for men to leave.
The leaders, though, have no intention of turning their backs. Former heavyweight boxing champion Vitaly Klitschko, now mayor of Kiev, says he and his brother will fight. Volodymyr Zelensky also leading from the front. The Ukrainian president once again addressed the nation, praising the bravery of troops and again appealing to Vladimir Putin to enter negotiations with his government. But those calls have so far fallen on deaf ears. Sergei Lavrov here saying Russia will ensure the demilitarization of Ukraine and that he sees no possibility of recognizing the current Ukrainian government as democratic. It's ordinary people who are picking up the pieces. This Kiev resident singing her country's national anthem, remarkable resilience in the face of terror. The international community is reacting to the first major ground war in Europe in decades.
We will limit Russia's ability to do business in dollars, euros, pounds, and yen.
The Biden administration has placed sanctions on 4 major Russian banks, which will have their assets frozen and be cut off from the US dollar transactions.
It will have maximum impact on the Russian economy and the political elite.
Meanwhile, the EU has targeted 70% of the Russian banking market and key state-owned firms.
We're taking new powers to target Russian finance, in addition to the banks we've already sanctioned.
The UK has announced all major Russian banks to have their assets frozen and be excluded from the UK financial system. This is a crisis affecting the sports world too. UEFA has moved May's Champions League final from St. Petersburg to Paris. Formula One has also cancelled its race in Sochi in September, while Manchester United have withdrawn Airflot's sponsorship rights. Meanwhile, protests against the Russian invasion have continued around the world. Hundreds gathered outside San Francisco's City Hall. Hundreds also here in Toronto chanting slogans and waving Ukrainian flags. People came out in Taiwan too. In Turkey, people asked the West to do more to support Ukraine.
Wake up! Russia, wake up!
And crowds gathered in Sydney's streets calling for an end to the bloodshed.
I think that the importance of Ukraine winning against Russia in this war is very important for world democracy and for global peace, actually. The West supporting Ukraine and giving it all it can, not just empty promises and concern, endless concern. It needs to act and help Ukraine win against Russia.
And that's your international news around the world in 5. Now back to the Channel Studios in Lagos.